RX 300. It comes with a greenish tint on the backs, and I'm gonna attempt to match the front with the back. This tint is already tinted kind of green, but it's really light, and we're gonna do a 35%. I'm also gonna tint the quarter and put a strip on the windshield. For the windshield, if you look closely, it's a darker black than the rest of the tint on this car, so it's better to put a black tint. But we're gonna do it with the green today. I get in here. All right. Some of the supplies that I'll be using. This is our film. It's the Infinity. Let's see, where do we have it here? It's the Suntech Infinity 35% OP. It's a high performance. Some razor blades. This is to cut the film. I like these hard cards. They're what you would spread a Bondo with, but they're just flexible enough to get the job done. And one spray bottle. I'm gonna add the Johnson's baby shampoo to it because this makes it just soapy enough to where there's no harsh chemicals in there. And usually what I'll do is I put just a few drops and fill this up with water. All right, I'm gonna go do that, and then I'll continue in a minute. We need our window to be very clean. Oops, come on now. All right, every piece of dirt needs to come off, because anything that you leave behind will be seen when the tinting is done, when you're done tinting. So I usually start off just like this with the same solution of baby shampoo, and I'll just do this. And you need everything to come off, especially at the bottom. Okay, and if this window had film on it to begin with, usually what I'll do in that case is I'll take a razor blade and I'll run it along the whole window to make sure I don't get any bubbles in the end. Okay. What I meant by running the razor blade along the whole window. So I would wet it like this. And I'll take my razor blade, these are really good, and run it all the way across. And this would catch any little dirt that's actually stuck on there. Okay. And what we have down here is the anti-theft sticker. We don't want that to stay behind, because if we do, there's going to be bubbles all the way around it. So I usually catch that on one side like that, pull it off, and then just run this across, make sure I get all the gunk off of it. And we did a good job. Now, the next step is to roll down the window just a little bit. Not a lot, I just want to be able to see the top. I'm gonna soap this all the way through again. This one, I always definitely use a razor blade, even if it didn't have tint on it to begin with, because sometimes you get some stubborn dirt up there that doesn't want to get off. And I'll wet it again. Wipe it off. And that feels really smooth, really clean. Okay. So the inside here is clean. And I'll do the same thing on the outside. I'm gonna clean that just like I did on the inside. Soak this window. The more, the better. So, gonna wet it really well. Then I come in here Grab my razor blade. And I grab my film. Okay. And I'm gonna basically lay it on there, just like this, all the way across. Okay, I'm gonna do this and then I'm gonna show you the next step. Okay, you're not gonna see these two all on the tape, but what I've done is I've wet the other side of the film. Now, this is the roll right here. I'm gonna take this roll, I'll attempt to do this with one hand, and I overlap it on what I already had. You don't have to do it this way, but this saves a lot of time on cutting. This way, when I go to the other side, I will not have to cut again. So I basically just overlap it, okay? I've got 2 layers on here, one for this side, one for the other side. And I'll go through and I'll smooth this out up at the top here. Just run it across so we could anchor it so it doesn't move as I'm trying to make my cut. I'm gonna take my razor blade, and what I do here is I make a little cut at the top. Different people do this different ways, but I make a little cut at the top. Just like that. Oh. Alright. After I do that, oh, this mirror is shiny. After I do that, I'll take my razor blade and I basically just run it across the top. Just like that. You want to do this process without stopping though. Okay. Straight all the way across with the razor blade. And now this is all that we have left. I'm gonna start at this corner and I'm gonna use my razor blade and use this as my guide, and I'm gonna cut straight down. Okay, and take my razor blade and as far against the corner as I could, I'm gonna do this, and you go straight down with it. Just straight down with the razor blade. And you can cut this too. Okay. And now, so as a result, we have the top portion done. We have this portion done. This is not done. I usually leave that for last as a way for me to peel off the film. Now we're gonna move to the front. Now, to do the front, what I usually do, and not everybody does this, is I'll take this whole film and I'll scoot it back just a little bit, like a 1/4 inch or maybe a little bit less before I start cutting the front. I've moved this. It was like this when I started off, and I've moved it just enough to where it covers this little seal right here. As a result, it gives me a little more room up here for me to cut. All right, and I'm gonna do it the same way as I did the back. I'm gonna go right up to here, poke in, follow it all the way straight up, and then once again I'm gonna cut straight down like so. Okay. And now we've got our front window cut out completely. We are about to start. What I've done is I've moved the film that I've cut to the back window, but the only reason I've done this is to have somewhere to hold it while I work with the front window. Okay, and on the inside is where we're gonna place our film. This top part right here, I'm gonna go to a corner and very carefully peel off the protective layer of the tint. And I'm gonna peel it down. I usually peel it down about halfway. It makes it a lot easier to work with once you transfer it to inside the car if you have it about halfway. That way you don't get no dirt on it neither. All right. I take my spray bottle and I just drench this. Just wet it, wet it, wet it. It does not matter how much you get on there. And I go on the inside and I do the same thing. Just drench it. Okay. Once I'm done with that, I'm gonna carefully peel off the film that goes to this side. Oops. Because I still have both films together. So carefully peel it off again. Ooh. All right. And I take it. And I place it on the window. Okay. And you try to match it up the best you could with the way that you had it outside. The best that you could. Since I'm a little more advanced in this, sometimes I go through and I'll use a razor blade and I'll cut it again. I'm gonna do it this time, but I'm actually not gonna show it because it's hard for me to cut the film and hold the camera at the same time. So just go through and as closely as you can. Me, I'm gonna get it right on the edge because I'm gonna come through and cut it in a little bit. And you match it as best as you can. Okay. Touching this up with the razor blade one more time, what I've created is I've gotten the film really, really, really close to the edge all the way across. Okay. All right. After doing this, I come through with my hard card. The reason I love these Bondo cards is because with the razor blade, you can cut them, and on the RX 300, there's not really a need to, but you can cut them into any shape that you want. I'll soak this one more time. And the reason that I soak the film one more time before I go through it with the card is if there's any pieces of sand on there, it won't scratch the inside. So I'll just use this and basically just squeegee any or all the spray that I've sprayed on the other side. Okay, just like that. Okay, the more of the spray you get out, the less you leave to have to be dried by the sun. But after this is all said and done, we're done tinting this car, it's a good idea to just have it sit in the sun for about 3 days and don't roll your window down. And what do we have at the end? It's almost matching. I've squeegeed this really well. And there is no air pockets, no bubbles, nothing left in there. So I'm gonna go ahead and raise the film all the way up. Don't do it on auto. There we go. Slowly get it up there, slowly. Are we locked here? What's going on? Okay, we get it all the way up.